All right, lad. Yankees at home, as you mentioned, $1.99.5 the total against the Mariners. Early money on the over. Again, all right. You never go against streaks. I don't care. Now, King Felix hasn't been the same. He has great numbers in his career at Yankee Stadium, but he hasn't been the same pitcher the last couple of years for the Mariners. Teddy, their record is outstanding in one-run games. They continue to win the close games. The bullpen's been terrific. And I'll tell you, I mean, baseball's going to have a lot of explaining to do if you get a team that wins 105, 106 games, something like that, and has to be in the play-in game in the East, whether it's the Red Sox or the Yankees, and they would have to face Paxton, likely in a one-game scenario, could go home early, even though they could have a terrific regular season.
Sure, and look, I mean, Seattle has been on the lucky side so far this season. You've talked about the record in one-run games, and sometimes teams are able to sustain that all season long, but many times that tends to be a temporary luck factor, and the teams that have had success in the one-run games for an extended period of time, that success doesn't necessarily carry over to the pennant race. The problem, of course, in the AL is there aren't a whole lot of other legitimate contenders besides the Mariners for that last playoff spot, especially with the Angels struggling a little bit right now. But certainly, when they're going against this Yankee team, the Yankees are killing it right now. What are they, 15-4 in their last 19 ball games? Another 4 bombs last night. You know, and it's not just the young guys. You know, Miguel Andujar, Gleyber Torres, both going yards yesterday. Of course, Giancarlo Stanton's on a little bit of a roll himself right now. When you have multiple Yankees with big bats that are going off at the same time, likely to be difficult for a pitcher like King Felix, who is not necessarily the same guy that we talked about years ago. But that being said, when we look at King Felix, as you mentioned, not the same guy who was an ace for all of those years. And, of course, Seattle right now in danger of suffering their first 3-game losing streak since mid-April when they got swept by the Astros. You know, 37-19 since they last dropped 3 games in a row.
And this was their top stretch in their schedule as well, where it was nothing but at least teams with a winning record. They swept the Angels. They had split that 4-game set against the Red Sox, so they have this big road trip. So far, not up to a good start. They matched a season low by mustering 2 hits, went hitless in 20 straight at bats at one point. Here's what Service said after the game, quote, "The key on the road is you have to play really good defense and you have to hit. Hard to win the 1-0, 2-1 games. We won a couple of them, but it's not easy. Not a formula you want to subscribe to often." End quote. Cruz homered and has 7 bombs in his last 10 games. Here's Cruz. We're going to play our game. Things didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. We'll come back positive and try to make things better. Which, you know, as you said, not a big deal. When we talked about, I think it was earlier in the week. My God, where are the races in the American League? Because you got the Astros, the Mariners, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and then the Indians in the bad division. The Angels are starting to lose as well. They're struggling. And the Mariners just swept them at home. There's not going to be a race. I know it's only the end of June, but we might not have a race to look forward to in the American League.
I mean, it really feels that way, Pauly. When we look at this American League, unless the Angels are able to snap this skid, I'm expecting Seattle to come back to earth. I really am. You look at the makeup of this roster, you look at the loss of Cano, and you say, yeah, they've kind of overachieved. They're living a little bit on borrowed time. And the markets have reflected that throughout this Mariners run. Look at the price today. They're nearly, the Yankees in the minus 190 range. There has been a little bit of Seattle money to go along with the over money. But by and large, it's a Mariners team that's being priced in fairly non-competitive fashion in the Bronx against the Yankees. And I love that Scott Servais quote. You know, the key on the road is you have to play really good defense and you have to hit. It's hard to win the 1-0 game, the 2-1 game. We won a couple of them, but it's not easy. It's not a formula you want to subscribe to often. I worry about the Mariners' bats, short-term and long-term, even with Nelson Cruz in great current form. The Mariners team without Cano that I expect at some point is going to have a more difficult time manufacturing runs than they've had so far. Makes me a little reluctant to get on Seattle today. And I'm certainly not going to ride this over train or this over steam in the Yankees, considering they've cashed 14 consecutive unders.
Yeah, keep it going. Plus the what are the 4? It depends if you win, you bet the White Sox game, but that's a 14-1-3 run with the unders with the White Sox as well.
Like the show? Help us keep the lights on. Please make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to all the Sportsbook Review videos. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Enjoy the game.